Okay, so by the hi everyone, good morning. I didn't understand what the host was saying just now, but yeah. So my name is Zhan. I'm the founder of SEAmplified. We are a community and media platform in Singapore. Our mission is to help youths explore opportunities in Southeast Asia through digital content like online stories, short form videos, and community events like secret networking sessions, workshops, and we plan to do trips in the future. So first of all, thanks William and Startnovation for having me here today. It's my first time here in Laos, so I'm very excited to speak to all of you here in person. So I've been asked to, talk about personal branding for entrepreneurs in Southeast Asia. And I think because it's my first time in Laos, right? So maybe I want to share with you some impressions that I have before coming here. Yeah, so my first impression is beer Lao. I heard that it's very famous here in Laos. And yesterday my friend brought me to a convenience store and I bought a can of beer Lao. And I think it's very smooth and refreshing. And it is actually better than some of the beers that we have in Singapore. Yeah. And another impression that I have of Laos is Luang Prabang. Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but I heard that it has been become a very famous destination for foreigners, for tourists, and it's an escape away from the city. Singapore is like a city with a lot of skyscrapers, and we don't really have a lot of nature. So, yeah, I hope to go there and get to see the nature and the scenery at Luang Prabang. Yeah, and I also wonder what are your impressions of Singapore? How many people here have been to Singapore? Yeah, have a show of hands. Oh, Singapore. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I wonder what is your impression of Singapore? I don't know if you know any of these landmarks. So maybe Marina Bay Sands come to mind, or our airport. This is our airport. There's a waterfall in the airport, yeah, like huge waterfall, indoor waterfall. Or like maybe for some people, when they think about Singapore, they think about the food. So this is chili crab. If you have a chance, please try when you come to Singapore. It's actually very good, yeah. Um, and why am I talking about this? Because when we talk about impressions that people have about a country, be it about Laos or Singapore, that is branding at work. But what about you? I know a lot of people here are entrepreneurs, right? What about you? What do people actually think about you when you are not in the room? Right? What are their impressions of you as an entrepreneur or as a person, as a friend, or as a partner, right? And that is what we call personal branding. And when I first hear about personal branding, I was scared. Why? I'm an introvert. Yeah, I'm a super introvert. And this is a photo of me, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I had an opportunity to do an internship in the Ministry of Education in Singapore. So this was a meeting where all the teachers in Singapore gathered in a room and we had a meeting on curriculum or lesson planning for schools, how to teach students better and all that. And throughout the whole time, I was not talking at all. Like literally not talking. Like the teachers were like, discussing and all that. And then until one teacher stopped and asked, Zhan, do you have any suggestions or do you have anything to say? Then I dared to speak up. Yeah, so that's why when I first heard about personal branding, I'm like, oh, am I going to be like one of those TikTok or YouTube influencers out there, like doing videos and put myself out there in public? Like I didn't think that is what I would do. Yeah, but personal branding is more than just that. I think it is it brings you opportunities, right? You get to connect with various entrepreneurs or professionals, and when you have these connections, it brings you to more opportunities that you would never have imagined. So I have a photo here. Yeah, these are like the few Singaporean entrepreneurs that I actually got to meet. Yeah, when I started to pay more attention to how to build my personal brand. So why does it matter for entrepreneurs, personal branding? I will, my sharing today, I will bring you some personal stories and also introduce you to some Singaporean entrepreneurs and professionals that I've met. Yeah. So maybe the first story is about how I even, end up here on stage, end up here in Laos, right? So this is my friend, Freddie. So we actually got to know each other through a professional networking platform called LinkedIn. And he actually runs an educational company called EduHub. So they help students to get study abroad opportunities, right? And what I heard is that William, who is the founder of Startnovation, I don't know where I see, but yeah. So he reached out to Freddie, right? And then he was like, "Oh, I'm trying to look for a speaker, to talk about personal branding." Yeah. And then you can see the message here. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see the message here. He recommended me. Yeah. So this is how personal branding works, right? When someone has an impression of what you do, and when you are not even in the room, right? Second story. Okay, this is Eric Sim. So he's a very famous LinkedIn influencer in Singapore. He has over 2 million followers and is a LinkedIn top voice, right? And I was invited by him to speak at his workshop on time management and LinkedIn. And it came as a shock to me because why would why would someone with 2 million followers come and reach out to me and talk at his workshop, right? And I realized that it's because I've been interacting with him through the comments on his posts, and that actually formed an impression on him. Yeah, and he started to, search out more about what I do and all that. And he thought that, oh, I could be suitable to speak at his workshop and share with students on, how to, make yourself more active on LinkedIn and all that. Yeah, so I was actually very grateful, and I think I was very fortunate to have this opportunity to speak. Yeah, please follow Eric on LinkedIn if you have. He actually shares wonderful insights on how to build your personal brand. And, in fact, he was an investment banker previously before he became, this LinkedIn influencer and coach online. Yeah. So these two stories, it tells me one thing, right? So your personal brand actually reflects what people think about you. And opportunities come when you don't expect it because people already think of you and they recommend you to someone else, right? So that is personal brand at work. But why is personal brand getting more popular, especially in Singapore? So currently in Singapore, to be honest with you, the job market is not really good. The youth unemployment rate is kind of increasing. A lot of youths are finding a hard time, to find a job. Maybe university graduates take about half a year, at least half a year to find their first job, right? And on another hand, you have youths who are going onto TikTok and build their personal brand, especially for Gen Zs, because Gen Zs value authenticity, right? And you want people like you guys who is out there and share products that they like, for example, yeah. And also you have more youths getting onto LinkedIn to build their personal brand in search for more opportunities as well. So actually at SEAmplified, we actually did an article recently on how different Southeast Asian youths are capitalizing on LinkedIn to build their personal brand. In fact, one of our profile is here today, but yeah, yeah. So if personal brand is so important and all that, how do we even start to build our own personal brand? So I think you have to start with, some goals and purpose in mind, right? So for example, what do you want to achieve when you build your personal brand? Who are you trying to reach out to? Who is your target audience, right? Why do you even want to build your personal brand? Because to be honest, it might not be suitable for everyone, right? What makes you stand out from like the rest? Competition is tough and intense. What kind of value do you provide to other people, right? And actually, there are a lot of ways you can build a personal brand. Like I mentioned, right, there are youths in Singapore who are building their personal brand through TikTok. There are people, you follow influencers, right? So, they are on Instagram, they are on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. But I think for entrepreneurs, if you want to build, connections and relationships with other entrepreneurs who can bring you more opportunities, LinkedIn is actually the way to go. And I'm introducing you to two of my entrepreneur friends in Singapore who actually built their personal brand on LinkedIn. So the one on the left, his name is Joshua. He's a serial entrepreneur, meaning he actually started a lot of companies, right? And currently his mission is to stop the brain drain in Myanmar. As we all know, Myanmar, there was a coup and a lot of youths left for opportunities in other countries. But he's trying to stop this phenomenon. So he started a company called Crosswords Myanmar to tackle this problem. And he is a well-known globetrotter. He has been to, I think, he says 75 countries, 387 cities, and so on. Yeah. And he has become kind of famous in Singapore because he was featured on the newspaper, on media, and all that. So people came to associate Joshua with Myanmar. People actually ask him, are you a Singaporean? And then he has to say that, yeah, I am a Singaporean. It's just that I'm very interested in affairs in Myanmar. Yeah, and because I got to know him, and then we had an opportunity to do a fireside chat together on, why should we care about Myanmar just 2 weeks ago. So this one was the panel session. Yeah. The next entrepreneur I want to introduce is Sherelle. So she's a Gen Z. And then, she's a content creator and personal trainer. She runs a media and marketing agency called Forward Media. And how she built her personal brand on LinkedIn was through a 66-day writing challenge. Because before she got into LinkedIn, she couldn't see herself, building her brand on LinkedIn. She thought that LinkedIn come across as very cringe because sometimes you have people who pretend to be humble, but they post things that, they kind of like brag their achievements, right? So it came across as not so authentic for some people. So she didn't really want to get onto LinkedIn. Yeah. But she started to realize that if she didn't put herself out there, no one is going to come to her, no opportunities are going to come to her. Yeah, so she decided that, okay, why not give LinkedIn a try? And because she didn't have the experience of writing posts on LinkedIn, she just started to do a 66-day writing challenge. And that actually helped to, train her to, write authentic posts about her experience and, her insights on the media industry in Singapore. Yeah, and she actually came for our LinkedIn workshop. Yeah, to share her experience as well. Yeah, and I think from her experience on LinkedIn, she got introduced to more opportunities and clients, which she has never thought of before. And then my own personal story, right, on how I built my personal brand on LinkedIn. So I only started on this personal branding journey when I started Simplified last year. And because I realized that if I don't put myself out there, no one is going to know what I'm doing. You know, no one is going to like come to me and say that, hey, I want to get you to do some content about Southeast Asia. Yeah. So as an introvert, I was like, okay, let me try and put myself out there on LinkedIn. So I started with no strategy. There was no strategy. I just started by posting that, oh, you know, I'm starting this thing, and then, you know, I hope people can support me and all that. But along the way, I start to document my journey building Simplified on LinkedIn. So, for example, I had a post where we had our first ever business trip to Indonesia last year. And I went with my mentor and our team member. And yeah, it was an eye-opening and wonderful experience. Yeah. And then I think this year we started to do community events, right? So that is another achievement for us. So, you know, I start to share what did I learn from like, you know, hosting these community events, and what milestones I achieved and all that. Yeah, and people kind of like relate to you because you are sharing very authentic stories about your growth and development as an entrepreneur, especially as someone who started from scratch, right? So if you are thinking of building your personal brand on LinkedIn especially, my advice is that you don't have to think too hard about it because everyone has got to start somewhere, right? So my advice is start small and be consistent. Why do you need to be consistent? Because if, for example, you start posting for like 2 or 3 weeks and then you stopped, you are just going to disappear on everyone's radar because every day there are a lot of posts by different professionals and entrepreneurs on LinkedIn, right? Yeah, so I think you have to be consistent in your posting and all that. Yeah, and remain focused on why you started to post on LinkedIn. Like, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve when you post or connect with professionals on LinkedIn? Yeah. So maybe I want to like share a bit more about how my personal brand helped in my entrepreneurship journey, and also like how has it been so far building Simplified. Okay, maybe a short history on why Simplified started. Yeah, so actually before I started Simplified, I was in a non-profit organization that educates Singapore youths about Southeast Asia and China. So I was their head of product development for about 3 years. So we run, curriculum workshops, networking sessions for students in schools across Singapore. Yeah, so this photo is one of the workshops that I did in a local school. This is the Singaporean classroom. Yeah, and I was there for 3 years, right? And I learned and I became more interested in Southeast Asia. Yeah, and that led me to an opportunity to do an internship in Jakarta. I think it was 2023. Yeah, so these are my bosses in Jakarta. So I was interning in a market research firm. Yeah, and it was my first time in Indonesia. And then I realized that, oh my God, I didn't know that, Indonesia has so many ethnic groups and languages and whatever. And I realized that the youths there are like so entrepreneurial and hungry and all that. And I was quite inspired by my time there. But I noticed the problem. So you might have heard of ASEAN, and ASEAN has been around for so many years, and there are actually a lot of ASEAN advocacy efforts in Singapore, elsewhere, right? But we still don't really know each other very well. We have a lot of misunderstandings, when I was in Indonesia, just nice, it was their presidential election year. And we also had our presidential election. So we were talking about it over dinner. And then they were like, oh, you know, there's the white hair guy from your country. His name is Mr. Lee Hsien Loong. Is that your president? And I was like, no, that's our prime minister. It's different. Yeah, so this kind of conversations made me realize that, hey, is there anything more that I can do to help more youths, learn more about our neighbors and also explore opportunities in Southeast Asia? Because when we talk about opportunities abroad, we think about the West, China, and all that. But Southeast Asia is often overlooked. Yeah. So this is why Simplified started. We really want to help more youths to discover that there are a lot of opportunities in the region. And so we do it through articles. So we feature people who have ventured around the region. We do videos, networking events, secret networking events. Yeah. So secret networking events, you get to meet secret guests who are professionals who have been venturing around the region as well. So creating a space where, youths get to learn about the various opportunities that are available in the region. Yeah, and how my personal brand helped is that it helped me to get, for example, my mentor. This is my mentor. He runs a media platform in Singapore. And also, when I host events, right, I need to look for speakers or like guests and all that. Yeah. So people tend to trust you more when they actually know what you are doing just by looking at your LinkedIn post and all that without knowing you beforehand. Yeah. So this is why personal branding can be very helpful for you as an entrepreneur, right? And I think I just want to speak a bit about the Singapore's entrepreneurship scene. We are one of the, I think we are one of the most vibrant startup ecosystems in Asia. We have 22 unicorns, more than 1 billion USD, right? And we have interesting youths doing interesting things, right? So we have Stick'em, they do chopstick robots. So they teach students to build robots using chopsticks. So that is STEM education, right? And they recently won the Hout Prize, which is the Nobel Prize for students. And I'm very proud to say that one of the co-founders is my friend. And then there's another company called Repair.sg. So a lot of blue-collar jobs are actually done by older people in Singapore. So it was quite interesting that these two youths started a repair company at the age of 16. Yeah. So, and also you have other youths who are like, starting other forms of creative businesses, right? One doing nail services at home, and this guy, he started a sticker business, and he's doing very well. Yeah. So the Singapore's entrepreneurship ecosystem, I think the impression is that a lot of people think about tech and all that, but you still have a lot of creativity from like the people, from youths who are starting businesses in different industries. So entrepreneurship is not just about running a business, right? I think it's about turning ideas into impact, even if you don't have the answers yet. Yeah, it's the same for personal branding. You don't have the answers yet, but if you start to put yourself out there and get more people to know what you are doing, opportunities will come your way, sometimes very surprisingly. Okay, I think I'm short of time. So I think my last part, I'll just talk quickly about why we should go global, because I'm talking about opportunities in Southeast Asia, right? So Singapore only has 6 million population. Laos only have 7.7 million population. Am I right, the statistics? Yeah. And then, but Southeast Asia, you have a population of 700 million people. And about 1/3 of our population are youths. That means that we have a lot of potential to grow in the years ahead. And we are currently the 5th largest economy in the world. We are on track to become the 4th largest economy by 2030. So this means that it's no longer viable to just look within your country, right? There are so many opportunities out there for you to explore, and get to meet more people who can help you expand your network and horizons. Yeah, so this is really what we are trying to do at Simplified, right? With our articles and with our videos, content, with our events and all that. Yeah, we really want to help more youths to, discover the immense potential that Southeast Asia have for their future. And I think in the process of doing it, we are connecting people across the region together, right? And for example, we had recently one of our video went viral on Timor-Leste. Suddenly, there was an influx of Timor-Leste netizens coming in to say thank you for sharing about our country, and a lot of them came to follow us. And this is when you start to see that, hey, our work is actually quite meaningful, and connections arise from there. Yeah. And also, I went on a Southeast Asia leadership program recently. So there were 60 students from across ASEAN, and then we went on a 2-week trip in Chiang Mai, and then 3 weeks in Singapore and all that. Yeah, and these kind of experiences reminds me about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, right? I realized that we actually share a lot of struggles, we share a lot of aspirations and all that. And it's only right that we come together and work together for like a better future for Southeast Asia. Yeah, and if you are wondering how you can connect with more people, more professionals across Southeast Asia, yeah, personal branding helps, right? Connecting with people on LinkedIn, just reach out, and you never know what kind of opportunities will come to you. Yeah, so there's a proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Yeah, so I believe that if more people in Southeast Asia come together, I think it will really accelerate the growth of our region, and we will have a better life ahead. So just to conclude, you realize that I think based on my experience, my personal brand has kind of like brought me very far out of Singapore to Indonesia and to Laos today. Yeah. So I like to conclude by saying that your personal brand can be your passport for growth and business opportunities, not just in Southeast Asia, but beyond. Yeah. And I think with that, I'll conclude my speech. Yeah. Thank you very much.